Plan to establish a sober living house in Quincy has once again been denied. Tonight, the Quincy City Council agreed with the Plan Commission's recommendation to deny a special permit to operate a sober living house in the 1400 block of North 8th Street. This is where the former Washington School is located. Currently, there's a daycare in the building, and a request was made to move the daycare elsewhere and instead run a sober living house. Council members also denied a request to rezone the property from single and two-family residential to multi-family residential.
The neighbors were opposed to it. The special condition of the special permit was that the daycare had to support it, and they did not, and thus it got recommended for denial by the Planning Commission, and that was concurred with by the City Council tonight.
Bethelheimer says in order for this to have received approval, all daycares within 800 feet of the facility would have to express support, and one was not. As for what is next or happening next, he says they can continue to run the daycare that's currently there, but they cannot move forward with operating the sober living house.